Well, welcome to South by Southwest.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're feeling a little worse for wear this morning after the world premiere of the film last night at South by Southwest. You mentioned on stage last night that, you know, coming back here was important because Kenny had such a great response here. What do you think it is about this festival that appeals to the sorts of films that you make?
I think it's the enthusiasm of those that are frequenting the festival. It just has a wonderful energy about it. You know, it's a younger audience. I think it's sort of a hipper audience. They get film. You know, the thing I found that blew me away with Kenny, we had a midnight screening here all those years ago, and they actually got the film more than any other audience that we'd ever had, to the point where one guy stood up and said, "It's like you've taken a scene out of an American movie and sort of extrapolated it into a feature." I said, kind of have, really, in one way or another.
I'm going to add into what Clay said, that, you know, South by Austin, it's become the destination festival, and it's such a broad cross-section of creative media. You know, you've got that music, the interactive, you know, you've got the digital icons through to filmmakers, and that, I think that emergence is really powerful. And then for me personally, for us, I was a kid in a candy shop, Alamo Theatre, on 6th, and I could order a beer as many times as I wanted
and you
throughout the screening. And I did, and I'm suffering today.
I still got my badass T-shirt from 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Looking forward to replacing it.
And I reckon these audiences, for some reason, I mean, Kenny was great because there was a certain amount you kind of had to, like, not forgive, but embrace with him. I had a film called The Mule here a couple of years ago, which, you know, it was about scumbags, but this audience has so much empathy/sympathy, and for these guys, like, there's a real humanity, forgiveness in this festival. It likes a bit of outlaw kind of, you know, rough edges, and they're the best films, best characters. So yeah,
I'll never forget the after Q&A from The Mule. That was loose, to say the least. Bring back some memories. We'll talk about that later. So let's start talking about the film now. Firstly, congratulations on it.
Thank you.
I got to be there last night. It was great to see it on the screen with the audience. I think the first thing that really strikes me about the film is the level of realism you went into with yourself. There's not much you did to how you look now.
No.
And I put in my review that, you know, after you walked up on stage, I was like, but it's the same guy.
Yeah.
Don't know if I trust you.
Yeah.
imagine getting notes from that.
And you, as the director, would have been creating timetables and schedules.
Yeah.
And as a producer, receiving direction, post scenes on the next day on things he wanted. Yes, Clay.
Well, it's not so much an approach to the film, but just approach to my work. I love realism, and I love working. The thing that I'm always trying to do is find a connection, whether it's something I'm writing or something that I'm directing or acting. It's just, you know, what are the connections that I can make that will feel true to me? And the closer you can get to the bone, the more I invest in the idea. And I find that there are, when you start working towards areas that are close to your own sense of truth, there are layers that come out that you may not even necessarily be aware that you're putting on screen, and hopefully there's a bit more juice there. In terms of the look, it's funny because we did talk about that a bit, because as Shane gets older and I get older, we're starting to look more like each other. And back in Australia, where Shane's a household name, I'm being mistaken for him all the time. So we were actually a bit worried that that we'd have this film where the audience would be going, didn't he just walk out of that door?
Twins.
You know?
Twins.
Yeah, it's twins. So we went to some efforts to make sure that we looked different from each other. But we also didn't want to, it was a low-budget film, and we didn't have long shooting days. So we were really trying to make the most of how can we best facilitate the time that we have? What was great, we're in orange suits through a lot of the film, so there's not a lot of time in costume, and we didn't want to spend a lot of time in makeup, knowing that I was directing it. So we tried to simplify things as best we could.
And you did add some important pearls, you know, with regards to your hair and
well,
a few things
with
like
the
that.
look, I called it the dead fish. It was the sort of the daggy part down the side, which I've still got, and so I just tried to look a little daggier than I normally do. I'm a bit of a dag, so
the guys your age who are trying to look a bit cool.
I sort of saw him as a bit of a used car salesman that kind of thought he was pretty slick. And but you know, you meet them all the time. You meet people that carry this confidence, this arrogance and confidence, but they're almost immediately dismissible. I wanted him to be immediately dismissible as an authoritative figure. So that was what was transpiring, and I guess I have that.
That was the beer. That moment of indecision.
Yeah, exactly.